Dumelang bagaetsho, dumelang kaofela lona. Today ke lo bolela ka leeto la ka la IPHC. Ne ke le motseni wa kereke ya Lutere for nako e telele, ke goletse ko yona. And then go fihla nako e le goreng bophelo bo na le di-challenges. Ne ke le ko high school and then ne ke etsa grade, I went to a school ke le mo grade 8. So I ne go grade 8 ka January. Then ka June, because I was doing well academically, ba be bang promoter to another grade, which is grade 9. So 2 grades in 1 year. And then the following year, where I was supposed to be in grade 10, they suggested to my parents go grade 11. Because ne getsa the physics and maths. So mama, who is a maths and science teacher, abahana ari no, she cannot just skip another grade because already she missed out in grade 8. Maths, you can't just keep missing stuff. Remember then there were no social media where you can just catch up, on the phone or even get study guides. There were no study guides. It was like quite hard. So mama, I refused. Then I had to do grade 10, then 11, but still I was doing well. So kabeki, end of the year, ke pasa, then ke go next grade. Then the next thing I was in grade 12. While I was in grade 12, at our school, somebody, some white people, because it was a rural school. I didn't go to an ex-model C school, no. I went to a rural school, and then these guys from Britain. They want to take them to Britain, for tertiary, for their tertiary education. So obviously everybody was happy about it, but I wasn't the only one chosen. My big brother was part of it, and another lady, but my focus is not on that. It's on me. So the next thing, normally when things happen at schools, balemisa ko pele, bale praise, le bana, you are hardworking, you listen, all the positive things they say to the entire school about a child. Kante, some of them don't sit well with other learners. So, but I can't even say for sure that was the case. But then we could only go to Britain if our results in grade 12 were excellent, like they were in grade 11, because they looked at our results, grade 11 results, and they were also looking for science students. So they checked, and then they found out that, okay, we're doing well. They say if we keep up the same, good work, come end of that year, the grade 12 year, matric year, we're going to be leaving, we're going to get the scholarship and then go to Britain. So we had to work. It wasn't like something we really I prided myself on. I was just saying, oh, I wish I work harder. I was mainly focused on my, hard work rather. So I continued working hard. But then the next thing, somewhere around August, remember we had to do the trial exams somewhere around September. So I started getting sick. How sick? How so? In the house, because I lived in a township. It wasn't like a rural area. I was in a township. So where the bathroom is inside the house, everything is there in the house. So all of a sudden I was scared to go to the bathroom. And I had to sleep with my mom on the bed because I had my own bedroom, but I was scared to sleep by myself. So I had that fear. And remember this time I had to sit by myself and study. Though we did not have a study room per se, but I used to study in the sitting room. So, but I couldn't, go there by myself because I was so fearful. So I had to sit next to mommy and stay in the, inside the blankets there with mom and study there, which was not easy. So, okay, fine. I was coping with that. But whenever I needed the loo, I had to call mommy along, saying, Mommy, I need the loo now. Please get up and, come with me to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, sometimes you don't need somebody. It's a private room. So, but I was scared. And then, like, it happened this week. And I was still shocked as to what is happening. And mommy too was shocked because we never used to go to sangomas. I don't remember my mommy doing like libating or patla. No, my mother was not doing that. Oh, no, nor did I see, part of my family doing it. Like when we visited our uncles, we never saw them doing that. Even if maybe some of them did, but not in our presence. And besides, I was still a child. They were not going to discuss that with me. So, it was just tough. And mommy had to do something because she couldn't just watch. And like we were Lutheran, we attended Lutheran church. So the pastor, they couldn't like pray for such things. We knew their pastors will pray, but I don't think we were too, since I was still a child, but I did not know of people like the pastors praying for, the church members or the congregants. So mommy had to ask for help outside. So I remember she went to one of our neighbors and told them that, we're having a challenge here, my kids. It also happened to my brother as well. So it was like two of us in the same grade. We were promoted same time. Actually, he's like older than me, but we went to school at the same time. I went to school very early because when I completed my matric, I was 15 years old. Plus, the fact that I was promoted twice in 1 year. So, when I was, end of the year, when I was 15, I was born in November. I turned 15 in November. Then same month, we wrote our exams. Then the following year, I was like still 15. I went to teach, but it's not about that right now. We used to hold subsidized posts because I didn't have money to go to varsity at that time, but let me go back first. So we had that problem, and then mommy told the neighbors, and some of the neighbors advised that she must see a sangoma. So we're not used to sangomas. I've never been to sangoma before. So but then this time we had to. And because sangomas, it wasn't something that people would discuss with others. It's like a private matter. You don't tell people which sangoma you are using. So, but somebody advised mommy of a certain man. So come the following day in the evening. And then many people did not have cars. Like in the street, you'll find that there's only one person with a car. So we had to walk. So in the evening, we walked to that sangoma. But it wasn't like staying far away from us. So we walked to that place. We didn't want people to see us because there are many sangomas. We don't want them to know which one we're using. So we went there and we sat down, in the room. He used the house. It wasn't like a rendezvous. We just got inside, a 4-roomed house, the township houses. So we got inside. There were sofas there. We sat, which was good for me because I think if I went to a rendezvous with scary stuff in the room, that was going to be worse for me. But fortunately, it was like we just sat in the sitting room. There were sofas. Then the guy looked at me. He asked for my hand. Now I can think he was a palm reader because then I did not know. Then he asked for my hand, which was the left one. I gave it to him. And then he looked inside for some time, like studying it. And then as he looked, there was a black mark in my hand. Because I was a child who liked doing gardening. I don't know if that was from, the hard works I was doing with fossils and, shovels and, all the garden tools. So I don't know. But then he said, look at this. This shows that this child is being bewitched. So he started saying, there is a lion that walks around the house. They want to bewitch me because I'm doing well at school. And then I can't succeed if he doesn't help me. But you know what worried me at that time? I didn't care about the lions or whatever, but I wanted to be able to sit by myself and study. That's all I was looking for. I wanted to see what is he going to give me. Okay, next thing he gave me, sort of a stick. Yes, a stick. And then he said to me, I must take this and smoke it. I burn it first, like cigarette, and smoke it. He said it's very strong. Okay, he didn't do much. Then we left for home. The very same night, I smoked the stick. And then I was able to sit by myself and study. So I felt, okay, it's working. So I sat and I studied. Then the following day, it wasn't big. It was the size of a pen, the BIC pens, that size. So I was able to smoke and then study. And that night, I was not scared to go to the bathroom. So I was able to study in the sitting room by myself and then go to the toilet, whenever I needed to. And then I guess everything was fine. So, and then I continued on with the stick for a week. And then it got finished. So I told mommy, after the stick was finished, I started having the same, problem again. So I told mommy that, oh, now it's starting all over. So can we go back to that guy? So mommy said, no problem, we will go. So we went. And when we got there, the guy already knew us by now. So he just said, what's wrong? Is the stick finished? Then we said, yes. He said, if it's finished, then there's nothing I can do. I gave you the best medicine that I could give. So if she's failing, to be helped by that one for a week, it means I cannot help you. So we had to go back home. And then I was unable to study again now. So mommy decided, continued, telling people that, oh, she took us to a witch doctor or a traditional healer, whatever you call them. So, but it was fine for 1 week. But then the problem started all over. So somebody, suggested that we go to another church, at a shopping complex. There was a church there. We did not know it. We didn't even see people there because we were shopping there. We didn't see the way. It was the first time I see that church when I went. So we went to that church. That church is called IPHC. So we went on a Wednesday because that church, was attended on Wednesdays evening and then again on Saturday. It's a Sabbath church. So we went on a Wednesday. We got inside. I saw these people wearing some hats with a string attached to it. I did not like that because, when we were still young, when we went to Lutheran church, we used to, we didn't like ZCC, if you know that church. And we also did not like Apostle, those churches with blue and white and they walking around with strings and stuff, with prophecies, and we do not like. We just wanted, a mainstream church like Dutch Reformed Church and Lutheran Church and, Apostolic Faith Mission and Nazareth, church. These were the churches that were next to us, and they were not performing any miracles. We didn't want miracle churches. So, or prophecies. So then when I got to the church, I saw their, uniform had something on the sides, like, this hair of mine. It was something hanging like this. I said, it was a red flag for me. I said, oh, I hope this is not ZCC. I don't know, I didn't want ZCC. I thought, not that I had anything against it or the leader or whatever. I just saw the way they were dressing and they had the prophesy. I didn't like that. So I just wanted to be clean and no stories. So, and then we went to the church on a Wednesday. They didn't do much to us. We just sat there, listened to, whatever they were saying, and then come end of the church, we went home. But there was a time where they said visitors must get out. And then before we got out, they said they are praying for us, so we mustn't be worried. They want us to go outside so that they can pray for us. So I didn't worry. Because when we went outside, that was a time or an opportunity for us to meet other people and say, but how is this church? Do they really help? Why are they having this thing? This thing. It was a problem for me. I had a problem with this. I said, but what is it? Is this apostle? So I, then we were called back to the church. And then there were no, money wanted from us. They didn't want or ask for any money, no donations, no collections, nothing. So come end of the church, they prayed and off we went home. That night, I was able to sleep. I mean, I don't want to lie about anybody. I don't like lies. Because my Christ, Jesus Christ, is the truth. He's the way, He's the truth, and He's the life. So whenever I hear the word truth spoken, I know it's Jesus Christ, my King. So I'll always follow the truth. I don't even care where it lands. If there are 5 people fighting or, had to argue and everything else, I will listen to the truth and follow it. I don't care where it lands. It might land next to somebody who's not even related to me. I will take his side. Actually, I'm not taking a side. I'm following the truth, which is my Christ. So I'll forever tell the truth. The truth is, at the moment, that I got healed. They did not call us to the front to pray for us or anything. They didn't give us anything. They didn't. I can't lie. We just sat there and I got healed. We went back home. I was able to study. But it's just that we didn't go straight away there because my studies were really affected badly. I was come end of the year, I was able to pass with an exemption. I did well academically, but it was not the results that they were expecting from me if I had no disturbances. So I did not qualify to go overseas, but I was qualified to go to Wits University. Because there, I had to really come out with distinctions in everything, especially maths and science and physics. So, but nevertheless, I went to Wits University. Remember, this is not about the Wits and the stuff, it's about the IPHC church. So, we started attending the church because, we were so shocked that you just go to church on Wednesday just once and you are fine now. And I had a problem with the thing, but I said, if it means I'm going to be okay, I will attend it. Then I ended up buying the hat too, and then I started being part of them. I started getting used to the people. We, as a community, you find that there is a group of people who tend to be high class, middle class, our own standard. We're not doing it according to the books. No. As the community, we know that group is high, this one is middle, and that one is low. But honestly speaking, according to the standard, of the community, the people who attended that church were rated lower. So when we started attending the church, the community started complaining, how can they leave Lutheran church and go to that low-class church? But we said, regardless, we'll attend the church. We attended the church, and little did we know that this church was there, but there was a lead. Its leader was not where we were at that time. The leader was in Johannesburg. So every month end, everybody will leave for Johannesburg, but not downtown. It was based in Zirbekom. But Zirbekom came later, because when we became members of this church, there was people used to go to Jerusalem. It was called Jerusalem, somewhere in Pretoria, the rural areas, somewhere there. I don't know the place well, but we used to just, take a bus, and then the church will hire a bus and we all go. We didn't use, own transport like our cars. So we didn't even use taxis, we're using a bus. So we used to go every month. It was like a norm. Every month and we go there. Every month and everybody goes there. But then when we got there, we found that it was a nice place, It was a very, very, very nice church. And the leader, what a leader. So he was a strong, very influential, not a bishop. He wasn't called a bishop. He was called a comforter. A comforter. And as he was teaching us, he'll tell us, if Jesus did not leave, then the comforter will not come. And he was the comforter. So we called him, because it was mainly African people attending there, we called him Moemedi. Moemedi was full of miracles. I mean, believe you me, he will say things and they come to pass. Just here and there, come to pass. So remember, at that stage, I've passed my matric. Because of financial constraints, I couldn't go to varsity the following year. I held a subsidized post in one of the schools in Palabora. The school is called Palabora Primary School. So I was a teacher there, and I was like 15 years old. It was so nice because I played with the kids. The kids loved me so much, but I was like a good teacher, come academically, content-wise, I was extremely good. So kids will identify with me. Come after school, we used to dance, teach them dances and stuff. So I was the most loved by the kids. So, but then the following year, I went to Wits University. Remember, I went to a local school. Although we were taking a bus to the school, we were attending at a rural area, because there was a school there which was known for, its good standards. So I went there. That's where I did my matric. But then after that, when I went to Wits, remember it was during apartheid time. It was in 1990. Yes. So after that, I went to Wits University, and I was doing well, because now I was in Joburg. Although I was born in Joburg, I had to move. My mother is from Matibestad, the granny is Matibestad. Then eventually her parents moved to Diepkloof from Sophiatown. My grandmother moved from Matibestad to Alexander, and they were she moved from Matibestad to Sophiatown. They were later moved to Alexander, then moved to Soweto. So that's where I was born. But my daddy is from Bolobedu. My daddy is Molobedu, so that makes me proudly Molobedu. So I don't speak Silobedu, but I once spoke it. You know, when you move around from place to place, I'm one of those who just, adjust, fully to the new area. I learn everything fast. Like at one stage, I was close to the vendor people. Then I spoke vendor, and so I spoke different languages. So now I'm at Vets. Hardworking as I was, but at Vets I had to compete. I mean, in the 90s, it wasn't the same as now, because there were no bridging courses, and it was mainly white people. And again, there were black people, but generally speaking, they were from good schools, from ex-Model C schools. It was tough for people who came from, the townships and rural areas. It was quite tough. Unlike now. Now you can sail smoothly. Then it was tough. So they didn't care about your background, but now I can see they do. So as a result, I was studying very hard and I was struggling. It was tough for me. So come end of the year, actually, I used to go to, then they moved. Remember I said the main branch was in the headquarters. The headquarters were in Jerusalem. Then they started building, we started, because they say we were building, I was part of it. So we started building Zirbekom Church, the main branch now. So we started building that one. Because I was still young, on Tuesdays, I didn't have classes. So I used to visit the founder, FS Mudise. On Tuesdays, I will just go there and say, let me just visit him. I miss him because he healed me. So I used to go there. I'll find that people, like right now I know, but then I did not know. When I went there, I found that there are many other people there. Like not as a lot as such, but maybe about 30 people who came to visit him. Sometimes it's 15, 16, but then I will join the line. So little did I know that these people came there with problems, but I just joined the line. Sometimes it wasn't problems, it was like their successes. They were there to tell him that, we are succeeding, our businesses are successful, so we're here to thank you. Because he was there for us. I mean, I must say, he was really there for the church members. So I will join the queue, and then the next thing I'm inside, it's my turn. Then he will ask me, how can I help you? Then I will say, no, I'm just missing you. I was innocent. It wasn't like, maybe there were no sugar daddies, something like that. No. Don't look at it in that light. That was not even in our minds. I just felt like a child. I missed my dad because I regarded him as my father. So I went there, and on top of that, my father was not actively involved in my life. So he was more like my daddy. So I just went there. I said, Daddy, I miss you. So today I'm not attending classes. I just said I want to visit you. Then he said, okay, fine, what's your name? And blah, blah, blah. Then, I told him everything. And then the next thing I said, bye-bye. And then he said, let there be success in your life. Okay, then I left. If I don't have money, I wouldn't go. But each time I have money, and I'll just go and visit. So come end of the first year, results are out, and then I noticed that I passed only 2 subjects or courses. I only passed 2 courses out of 4. I was doing 4 courses, so I only passed 2. I'm healed by now. I don't have a problem. I don't have a challenge. It's just me, and I'm fine, and I'm working very hard, because he used to tell us on Saturdays when we are attending church that the ones who are students here, the young ones, you must work hard. Take your schoolwork seriously and do study and don't focus on anything else but your studies. I listened. I was focusing on my studies, but the next thing I passed. I didn't even understand English well. I was struggling, and this time we were taught by white people, and only to find most of the time our lecturers were not even South Africans. They were from places like Czechoslovakia, and it was not South Africans. And their accents was a challenge because you don't hear well. I sat in the front so that I can hear everything, and I didn't want any disturbance, but it was tough. It was tough because you're busy learning the accent. People are learning the content. So I did not stop working hard. I was busy, but then coming end of the year, I passed 2 courses, and the other 2, I did not do well. So I went in December. I went to church on a Saturday, on Sabbath. I went to church, and we were allowed to see the comforter, in case you had, challenges or successes, whatever you want to inform him. It must be serious. It wasn't like, just I miss you. No, not that kind of things. If you had challenges, somebody in the family is sick, or you lost your job, or something of that nature. So I also joined, the people were there. My turn came. I told him that, Father, you told us to work hard, and I did. And here are my results. I had my results with me. I said, here are my results. I passed these 2 courses well, but this other 2, one of them, I got 45 out of 45%, which is out of 100, 45, and the other one I got 49. So I failed these 2 and I passed the other 2. My report did not state that I failed. No, just said pass. But how can I move on to second year, whereas I'm leaving some courses behind? That will mean I will be doing some second year courses concurrently with the first year courses, and of which I did not like, because my course was a 4-year course. So then now I'm going to prolong it, add another year. So it was as good as a fail. So I said to him, how come I failed, Daddy? How come I fail? Because I was working hard. And one of the things that made me fail, Daddy, remember this time I was talking to him, Daddy, one of the things that made me fail is because of my past. We did not receive good education. I was referring to apartheid. I said our education was lower. I can be considered an intelligent person, academic-wise, but then now I'm competing with people, who did English first language. Now, I'm battling with the language, not with the content. I'm using a dictionary more than just to learn the meaning of words, as opposed to me studying, the content itself. So who's to blame? Who's fooling who here? So Daddy said, when they say, I'm going to say it in Sepedi. I'm going to say it in Tswana. Because that's what he said. He wasn't speaking in English to us. He said, ge ke re lebale bana ba ka, ge ke re lebale, lona le nkutlwella, le ke la feila, le ke la feila. Daddy, but I failed. He said, never. How I fail, ngwanaka. O phasitse. Ka montsha pampiri, Daddy, I failed here. Said, ngwanaka, how I fail. Ka re Daddy ka leboga. I was so happy because I knew him. I knew his powers. I knew he says things and they come to pass. So I left. I said, thank you. After leaving, it was on a Saturday. After leaving, I went to, back to, remember this time it was the holidays. I went back home. My mother's family house is in Deep Kloof. So I went back to Deep Kloof. And then that's where I was born. And then I started thinking, my daddy said I passed. Okay, let me go to, I waited till January. I said, let me go to VETS and go to the notice boards and see. Maybe I'll find that the results there are not the same as the results on my report card, whatever it's called. The results are results, whether they're from university or from a college or from a high school. Results are results. Whether they tell you failed or you passed, it means the same thing. So I said, okay, let me go to VETS. Schools are not reopened yet. The varsity is still closed. And just go to the notice boards and see. That was in January. So I went there. I went and I checked the results. They were still the same. So, excuse me. The results were still the same. So I stood there because I knew him. I knew my father. I knew my comforter at that stage. So I said, but he said, if you study, that's what I was saying. I said, my father said, if you study, you will not know failure. So I studied, for sure I studied. I will not know failure. The results is still there, similar to the one in my hands. So, but I passed. I believed him. So while I was still on the notice board, this you cannot believe, but it's true. I lie not. I lie not because now I'm a Christian. I'm not a member of IPHC anymore, which is a cult. The truth hurts. As much as I wanted that church not to be a cult, there's nothing I can do. It is. So at that stage, as I talk, you must be able to differentiate between me then and me now. Because at that time, he was my dad. Because according to his teachings, even when we die, we're going to find him there, waiting for us. He said, so we didn't know where. But we obviously thought in heaven. But I'm not talking about that now. Let's go back to the results. As I'm waiting there by the corridor next to the notice board, I had a lecturer, one of my lecturers who was like crippled. Those, I don't know what they are called, but those people who are dwarfish. We had such a lecturer. He was a nice guy. But remember, in the lecture room, we did not communicate much with them because they will give a lecture and off they went. Then we had tutorial lessons whereby we, everything was explained in detail by the tutors. And when we were handling our assignments and everything, we could talk to the tutors, not to the lecturer. So we hardly have interaction with tutors. With lecturers, I'm talking then. I don't know about the changes, if they are now, but I'm talking about what I know when I was there at VETS. So this lecturer of mine, I knew him. He will just stand there in the lecture room and give his lecture. And off he left. If you had questions, like I used to approach him and say, I don't understand this. He said, no, don't worry. During the tutorial lesson, then the tutor will help you, of which that was the case. The tutor will help us. So there was no need to worry. And then the assignments are done. We are helped by the tutors. And then the results are out. We interact with the tutors about our results. So I never had an interaction with this guy. But I knew him very well because each time we attend, he's there. So remember, even at that stage, I was still struggling with this language of theirs, English. Not that I couldn't hear, I could hear. And I was still learning a lot of things. The basics. I was still learning the basics. That is the damage. I'm talking the damage that was done by the apartheid government. But we forgave them. Not that I'm dwelling on that. But yeah, I'm talking about, my experiences that had absolutely everything to do with, the apartheid government at that stage or of the time. So it affected, how one masters this language. Because you couldn't even differentiate. When they say discuss, explain, you don't know the difference between that. You are referring to a dictionary. And the dictionary also need a dictionary. When they're explaining that in English, because they're still going to use the English to explain what you discuss is. And then you still go to a dictionary to get the meaning that is given to you. Like the explanation of discuss, in the explanation you come across another difficult word. Then you leave the dictionary, the word, and then you look for another word. That's how difficult it was. That's why I said, hence I'm saying I spent too much time on a dictionary. So, as I was waiting there by the notice board, the lecturer came. He did not know me as far as I'm concerned, because we were many in the lecture room. We were many. Remember, it was shaped like a stadium. So you just sit from the top, you enter from the top. There are doors, on all sides. It doesn't matter where you enter from. And nobody cares whether you attend or you don't. So when you come, nobody cares. So, but he came to me and said, how are you? I said, I'm good. He said, did you pass? I said, no. No, I failed. And he said, what did you fail? I said, your course, your subject. You, intelligent as you are, you cannot fail. But remember, this guy did not know me. I want you to know this. This guy did not know me. And I am not lying. He did not know me. Maybe he does know my face. He might know some of the people's faces. I don't know if my one was outstanding for him to remember it or what. But it was not easy for them to get to know us. Whereas there is no interaction. So he said, no, you cannot fail. He said, come with me. I followed him to the offices. So he took me to one of the offices, where they're dealing with results. Then he said there were some African ladies there, 2 of them. Then he went straight to one of them. He said, this lady, the lecturer said to the lady, this lady seemingly failed my subject and she's very good. So it means something was wrong. Please alter. His subject was the one where I got 45. And the other one with 49 was not his. And the lecturer of the other one, the 49 marks, was not around. Like, he did not come to me. Maybe he was around somewhere, but I don't even know him. I don't even remember him at that stage. because he just gives a lecture and off they went. It was like white people were giving us lectures. There were no blacks. Yes, so I went there and he said, please help her. So I don't know what the lady's name was, but it was a Zulu name like Tembi or Tandi. He said, Tandi, please help her. She passed. There's no way she can fail. Give her the 5 marks. No, not marks. The 5, is it percentages? Yeah, that she's short of. So give her the 5. Then he left. After leaving, Tandi or Tembi called a friend. You know, they're working together. Let's assume it was Tembi and the other one was Tandi. Tembi called Tandi. Tandi, come see me. Was also born. He was saying it in Zulu. He said, was also born. Lo muntu failile. All of a sudden, ufuna ukuthi apase. Yo. Angazusdina. You know, like, she was being rude. She said, I failed, but now I want to pass. She was very rude. But inside, I was saying, my comforter's words are to happen. I don't care what these ladies are saying about me. All I know is that I am going to pass as he said. So I decided to keep quiet because I'm one of the people like who has a tendency of responding. I would have told them where to get off. But I said, no, not this time. The comforter said, I've passed. And indeed, I've passed. I don't care what Tandi says. I don't care what Tembi says. I have passed. So, but regardless, Tembi sorted everything out on the computer. Then now I've got 50. Automatically, the one with 49, if you pass, I don't know if this still applies. If you pass 3 subjects, then the other one automatically, you know, you automatically get it. So if it's about 45. So I got my 2 marks, two subjects. I passed them. That was one of the, I don't know, I cannot call it the first miracle that I saw from that church. No, it can't be the first. I've witnessed many. Because by this time, I had, you know, faith. My faith was very strong. Very, very strong. Because I've witnessed quite a lot of things under the supervision or the leadership of Frederick Samuel Modise, the church leader. So I had to leave. Yo, you don't know how much I praised him after this. You know, there was a song like, you know, I was like singing such songs because the church had so many songs that were praising him. So I was praising him and praising him. It doesn't matter if this was the exact song, but I had to sing something similar to that to praise him. But all I was saying is that he's God indeed. So then my new results came out. Yo, I went back to him. I said, Father, Daddy, I passed. Yo. Then I went to do second year. Like any other person. But this time, when I was doing my second year, I never failed. I was doing well. This time I was doing well. But another miracle was happening then. Whenever I was to write an exam, because we had lots of work to do, it was quite too much. I mean, when you're preparing for the exams, it was so tough because you've got so many in hand. You don't know where to start. Everybody was struggling. Of course, everybody was working hard. But you look at your work, it's workload, it was a lot. But then I said, I don't even know where to start, but I was working hard still. But then I will go to sleep, then a vision. And in my vision, I will see him coming to me. I'm talking Frederick Modise, Samuel Frederick Modise, or Frederick Samuel Modise, FS Modise, will come to me and say to me, here is your question paper. Look at it. I will, when I get up, I will remember vividly everything that was on the question paper in terms of number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and I will jot them down. I will jot them down. I will write and write and write and write. And then I will even tell my friends that, we're in the same course. I will tell them that, we've got a lot to study, but make sure, because this is a question paper, because I jotted them down. Question 1 is this, question 2, question 3, but make sure you don't leave us. I said, I don't believe you. I said, yes, you might not believe me, but make sure this you don't leave out. You study as much as you want. I'm not stopping you from studying further than this, but make sure you don't leave these parts out. Then when we're in the exam room, as soon as my friends see the question paper, they will just signal me that, hey, whoever is giving you the question paper is accurate. So I will study, according to the question paper. And that will mean I always passed. Second year, question 3rd year, passed. 4th year, passed. And when I completed my studies, then I was to look for a job. And I knew I had a daddy. I knew I had a comforter. I was still visiting him on Tuesdays, whenever I had money. And I mean, another thing, as I was studying there were job opportunities for students. There were jobs for us. Companies around Braamfontein will bring jobs to the varsity, and then, then we could there were brokers involved, then we get jobs. I was also working. So, but on the days that I wasn't working, I will go to church on Tuesdays. But come weekends, come Sabbath day, I'm there. I was just talking about the extras, like visits on Tuesdays. Because I chose Tuesdays because I did not attend. I had no classes on Tuesdays. Excuse me. So I decided, now I don't have a job. I decided to go to him on Saturday, on one Sabbath. I have completed my studies. Schools were still closed. I decided to go to him. And I said to him, remember, you had to join the line. We were fortunate that, some cult leaders don't allow people to have access to them, to access them. But as for Mtate Modise, I applaud him for allowing us access to him. So I went to him, and then I told him that, you know what, I passed, and in the media, it is said that everybody who qualified in this field and is looking for a job, they're not going to get permanent positions. So for a certain period of time, there will be nobody who's permanentized. I remember him, because I was saying it in Swana. I remember him looking at me. I was seated on his left-hand side. You kneel down. I knelt down, next to his throne. He has a throne. I mean, it's a fact. So I looked at him and I sat on the left-hand side. And then I said, Daddy, I completed my studies thanks to you. I've been seeing question papers. It was so easy for me throughout the years. 2nd year, 3rd year, and the 4th year. And now I've passed. But then this comes, at the same time as my, completion of my degree. So they say no jobs for us. I remember him looking at me on the left-hand side. He laughed. He said, they're not referring to me. Hababui kalona banabaka. Hababui kalona banabame. Wena so sebetsa. What? Me? Yo, life was so smooth. Life was very smooth. So, I left. Remember, I said I had faith. The Bible says even the faith of the size of a, what's that? The faith of the size of a mustard seed. Mine was bigger than the mustard seed. So I believed. And that was on a Saturday. Then come Monday, I bought a Star newspaper. I'm in Joburg. I bought a Star newspaper. And in the paper, there were adverts, in many other fields. But I went to my field and I got an advertised post with the phone number, contact details attached. So I called the number. I'm a teacher by qualification or by profession. So I called, this principal. It was a white school, in a white school, an affluent, suburb in Joburg. I called. I said to the principal, I see this post advertised and I'm available in case you need me. But the principal said, at that time, I wasn't staying in Diepkloof, I was in Alexander. I was living in Alexander. So I said to the principal, I'm available in case you need me. But he said to me, this is an English teaching post. I prefer a white or an English speaker, not a white, an English speaking person. Remember that I had to teach white children. So his preference was, somebody who English was a first language, which makes sense. The principal wasn't racist at all. So I said, it's fine. I wasn't even, worried because I had my comforter saying, you will get a job. So I wasn't worried. I remember I said I had faith. I had ardent faith in that church. So I didn't even worry. I said, okay, I'm fine. But whenever you need me, that is my number. I gave him my number. So that was on a Monday. And he asked for my address, and I gave him my address telephonically. So that was it. On Tuesday, I went away, I forgot where I went, maybe to town. Let's say I went to town, I went out. I wasn't at home. I wasn't home on Tuesday. So the very principal, the white principal, went to Alexander looking for me. He had my residential address and he also had my postal address and telephone number. I don't think it was cell phones. No, don't think there were cell phones at that stage. So he had my telephone number. So he called, unsuccessfully so. And then he went physically there. It was dangerous at that stage. It was like Inkatha time. You know, white people didn't dare go to Alexander. They knew it. It was not safe. Even for us blacks, it wasn't safe. You go shopping, you don't know what's going to happen there. It was so dangerous. You are in a taxi, anything, can happen. So you were always alert in case something goes wrong. You are ready to jump out of your transport and run. That was the situation. So here a white person goes driving. It's so dangerous because they hijack you. But then he took a risk. He went looking for me, and then only the neighbor saw him. Then he asked, where is his house? Then they showed, in Alexander where I stayed, it wasn't like houses. It was like one yard and many doors, like a school, something like that. Like a school, like this door belongs to this family, another door. And inside it was just one big room, big. So you divide it yourself. Some people use curtains, some people could, it depends on how your finances are. You can divide it, build it, partition it, whichever way. So he went there, and then only to find I wasn't there, he spoke to my neighbor and tell him, it was on a Tuesday, he said, tell her, I told him my name, tell Lizzie that on Wednesday he must come to work. School starts at 10 past, but something like at 7 o'clock she must be at school. I did not know the place, the school, because I only called. So when I came back and they told me about him and stuff, him and being here and his telephone numbers and everything else, I then tried to see as to, how to get to the place, how to get to Bedford View. So fortunately, I managed to go there the following day. I remember entering his office. I knocked by the door. Here I'm trying to show you the powers that Ntate Modise had. And more is still to come. I've got plenty of things that I witnessed myself. Many people can talk about that church, but I don't think they're as experienced as I am. I don't think so. I've been in that church for 30 solid years without a break. 30 solid years without a break. And I was those kind of people who were following whatever he's saying. And even when children were seated there playing, I will not play. I will sit in the front row and listen to every single thing he was saying. And I practiced it. I took it like I was still young, 13, 14. I was always there listening to him before the varsity thing. No, it wasn't 13. No, we made a mistake there. It wasn't 13. Remember, I started going there when I was 15. Yes. 15 years, I will listen. 16 years, I will listen to him. 17 years, listen to him. So I loved him so much. So the next thing, I am in the principal's office. And as I knocked, I remember my principal's name was Duncan. As I knocked by the door, Duncan said, "Are you the lady from Alexander?" Because we never met. I said, "Yes." He said, "Come in." As I sat down, he called, the school I went to had 99.9%. It was 99.9, estimation. 99.9 white. But by the time I was there by the school, it was like another child went past. Her name was Tidi. So the principal said, "Tidi, come here. Bring me your English and science book and maths. Bring me English, maths, and natural science textbooks." So Tidi went to her class and she brought her own books. So the principal said, "Here are the books. You are going to start teaching today." Remember, it was on Wednesday. "You are going to start teaching today now. When school starts, you're going to start, and then you are going to watch as I teach." Okay, that was good. I was never interviewed. Not with the comforter. I was never interviewed. I just went in. He didn't want to know more. He just gave me the forms to fill, and the very month I got paid. And remember, I said to you that the government stated in the news, in the media, that there is nobody who's going to be permanentized. Will you believe that on the very day I was made permanent? I am not lying. I didn't work for 2 months then permanent. I got permanent day 1. So when I got permanent, it wasn't like strange, because I knew what my comforter was capable of. I started working. So I think I'm going to stop here. I need to have another, chapter, another video, part 2 of this one. Please subscribe so that these messages can reach a lot of people. What I'm trying to do is to give credit to everybody whenever it's due to them. I'm not going to deny all, I don't know if they're good things or what, but at face value, they are looking good. I fail and then now I pass. It is good. But the powers, where the powers came from, it's another matter. It is another matter. But I was able to pass. And me finding question papers prior to the writing, it's another sign of powers. But where do these powers come from? I cannot answer that. Now, I want you also to think and to comment. My aim, the reason I am telling you all the stories that I had for so many years with me, is because I want people to leave everything and follow Christ. We are not here to stay, and that is a fact. It does not matter how rich you may be. Your soul matters. There are only 2 kingdoms, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan. You may be in the kingdom of Satan and well off, like rich, wealthy, but that will end one day. And when it ends, your riches are not going to follow, even if they can buy expensive coffins for you, even if they can buy you an expensive tombstone. That tombstone is just material things. It does not have any powers to change things. It will not change anything. So I want you guys to know that following Christ is one of the best things you could ever be given, because this opportunity, we are granted it by Jesus Christ himself, by God. Leave everything. Don't follow the wealth or, the riches of this world. And if you are a man, you're busy womanizing, you are married, but you are busy with extramarital affairs at the expense of your children, your biological children, at the expense of your wife. All those, wicked things you are up to or doing are going to end one day, whereby you will come back to your senses and you're going to pay for it. You can pay for things in this world. It's better. But the afterlife part, I am saying so because as I'm going to be telling my stories, you are going to see that I once died. And I was given an opportunity to come back to life. So I want you to take this seriously. But if you don't take it seriously, it is fine. God does not force himself on people. He doesn't. If you choose to live your life recklessly, be it. But you are going to account for it one day. Ask me, I know better. I know better now. My experiences are very weird. I might have gone to or attended the church with you at IPHC, but my experiences are not similar to yours. You might have experienced something else too that is worth talking about, especially if it's about people, encouraging people to leave everything and follow Christ. It's worth telling the people. All the things that you might have in this world, they are going to end. As I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you how I benefited in this church and how I lost everything when I turned my back to that church. I'm no longer a member. I was well off in my own right. I was rich in my own right. I had cars, I had things. I had everything you can dream of. But the minute I say our relationship ends here, that's when I lost everything. So, subscribe. Please subscribe and press the notification button so that each time I upload, you have access to that. You are the first to know. Subscribe so that this can reach many people. It's not about me being wealthy. I don't want to be wealthy anymore, because that's what I wanted. If you follow me, you will know what I went through. I went through a lot, guys. I'm still going to tell you even about the so-called secret Bible. God made me to know secret Bible. Not everybody know about it. You will know what a secret Bible is and what it does. Very scary stuff. Very scary stuff. A book that can talk. I went through a lot. And even witchcraft. I've seen a witch in action and come out normal. They say if you see these things, because they're very scary, I must say. They're very scary. What I saw, very scary. So I still have a lot to give. I'm also risking my life, but because of the sake of Jesus Christ. I want you to know the truth and choose to do the wrong things. Because I don't want you one day to say, I did not know. Some people, some people like that. Oh, I did not know. That's why I want you to know and choose what interests you. Because one thing for sure, like I said earlier on, Jesus Christ does not force himself on anybody. I'm also going to tell you about how I was bleaching my skin. There are Christians who are busy bleaching their skin. I was one of them. Not anymore. When I received Christ, I threw everything away. I threw everything away. I started following Christ and Christ only. Why? Because I'm not light in complexion. I'm not dark, but I'm not like, But why do I want to be? What is it that makes you want to be a yellow bone if you are not born one? Why? Who do you impress? And I was a yellow bone. But why? What for? What did I benefit from it? Nothing. Nothing. So now I'm proud of who I am. I am proud of who I am in Christ Jesus. It does not mean that when you are a Christian, you cannot, buy what you like. You can still buy what you like, but you don't worship it. But at that time, it's like beauty was everything. I was married, by the way. I'm also going to tell you about how I lost my husband. May his soul rest in peace. I'm going to tell you how I lost my husband to hemangioma, a rare disease. They say 1 in 1 million. Get it? Out of 1 million people. Why my husband? Why did it happen to my husband? So I'm going to tell you about what happened after losing my husband as well. So it's a whole lot of stuff that I still have to offer. You will go home, with full hands after listening to my stories. So, and they are not fiction. They are non-fiction. They are non-fiction. And all this in the name of turning people away from the devil. The devil hates us. The devil is here to kill. He's here to steal. He's here to destroy. Like now that I've got Christ, I fear nothing. I hear another lady by the name of Owami, a blogger, saying, I miss fear, fuck all. I can say too that I misses fear, fuck all. I fear nothing. After receiving Christ, you don't fear anymore. I've received Christ, so why fear? I fear nothing. When I told people that I'm starting this YouTube channel, people were saying, it's dangerous, it's this, it's that, people might kill you. I said to them, we die once. If I die tomorrow, I'm not going to die again. You die once. And if nobody kills me, I'll still die one day. So why fear? Why fear? And after all, if I die for Christ. He's got a home for me. So I fear fuck all. I fear fuck all. I have to say my truth. And this truth must help you. I want you to know that Jesus Christ is alive. And he will never leave nor forsake his children. I can attest to that. I can attest to that. So I think it is enough for now. And then I'm going to be giving another video. Please do subscribe and do follow me. Do comment. And may the good Lord bless you. And another thing that I don't want to leave out is that, as a Christian now, I'm able, God gives you authority. God gives his children authority. That's the kind of love he has for us. Nobody has ever loved me this way. I had a husband, who was caring. A husband that people can dream of. I had that one. A husband who takes his salary and put it down here and say, what do you do, my love? That's the kind of husband I have. The husband who goes with me everywhere. That's the kind of husband I had. But I've never received a love, love that is similar to what I received from Christ. The Christ one is genuine. It's genuine. So that's why I'm inviting everyone to him. I love you guys, but Christ loves you more. Bye.